Hey, what's up, guys? So this video, again, is something a little bit different. I wanted to experiment with something because I know that a lot of people have some allergies or weird reactions to the dip liquids, more specifically to the dip resin, the base. So I wanted to see how application would go with gel base instead of using your dip liquids. So don't mind my nasty looking nails right now. I had a really dark color on. I had black and that blue color from when I did my marble nails. So it's stained underneath my nails a little bit. So just don't pay any attention to my nasty looking nails. I'm going to cover them all up in a minute here anyway. So for this application, I wanted to also use some different colors so I could see the transparency and the thickness and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm using two colors by Revel. The blue is called Playful, and my favorite color in the whole wide world is next to it. That's Piña Colada. I don't know why I have such an obsession with this color. It looks so good on my skin tone, and it's like the perfect neutral. It goes with everything. I'm obsessed with this color. Some of you may already know that. Sorry for being repetitive, but yeah, I love this color by Revel. So I do pretty much a normal application. I start things out the same way. I spin around my colors, get them mixed up, open them up, give them a little zhuzh, inside to make sure there's no, tough spots or compacted spots to when I'm gonna dip my nail. Even though I don't really dip when I did the gel application, I got nervous thinking I was gonna push the gel up on my nail. I did dip a little bit. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I did. So you didn't see here because I forgot to hit record on my silly phone, but before I start my application, I did do a very, very thin layer of the base, the gel polish foundation, and this one's by Gelish, and I cured it. I also used Mia's Secret acid-free primer because I'm told, at least, that you're supposed to use some sort of primer under gel, so I did that as well. And I'll list all the products I use in the description box as usual, so you'll know what I used, but I apologize for not showing that to you. It was me, it was my fault. I had a brain aneurysm or something, and I just didn't hit record. So anyway, so for my first layer of dip, I put as thin as possible. I don't really care for this. I've never used this before, this gel foundation stuff. It seemed to be super thick, and the brush was weird, and I don't know, just maybe I'm used to, the thinner liquids with the gel liquids and stuff, but so I put a layer as thinly as possible, and I did like the fact that it leveled itself pretty quickly. And then I took my little cuticle pusher and spooned the dip powder up over that. And it did take me a little bit to really, put as much powder as I needed to, because it was absorbed pretty quickly into the gel base. I felt like I had to use a lot of powder. The thickness you'll see at the end between the gel base and the dip liquid base, the thickness, you can't really see a difference. But I felt like I was using a lot of product. I don't know, maybe it was just me, because I'm not used to scooping. I'm a dipper, So anyway, I did my layer of the base. I put my powder on, and then I cured it. I didn't wipe it off. I cured it immediately. I cured it for 30 seconds, and then I took it out. 30 seconds or a minute? Ooh, no, I don't know. I think it was just 30 seconds. I took it out and I brushed it off, and it was completely, I don't know if it was completely cured, but cured enough that I could put on another layer. So that's what I'm doing here. I put on my second layer of the gel base, the Gelish foundation. And I felt like I had to go slower with the gel for some reason. Maybe it was because of the viscosity of the gel. I feel like I needed to spread it out more because it was much thicker, in my opinion, as opposed to the dip liquids. The dip base is pretty thin. So that took a little getting used to, and I did take more time, making sure I had my sidewalls clean of any gel product. And the cuticle stick worked really well for that. I feel like the wood that the cuticle stick is made out of absorbs that gel polish, so it keeps it away from your cuticles. My application came out really clean. It didn't require a whole lot of filing at all. So as far as that goes, the gel base worked out pretty well. It definitely took a little bit longer, mostly because you have to cure between every layer. And I know 30 seconds seems insignificant, but when you're doing a whole hand, as I did in this case, that's 2.5 minutes, 5 minutes if you're doing both hands of just curing time. So I don't know, it added a little bit of time. And I did remove this too, because I wanted to talk about the removal, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but the removal was a little bit of a process. And anyone who has used gel products before, I guess, can, confirm that gel it takes a little more effort to get off. It wasn't as bad as I had heard it might be, but it was definitely a process. But again, we'll get into that later. So here's what I did. I did a total on each finger of 4 dips, or layers, I'll say. I did 3 layers of the color, and I did 1 layer in clear. So you're gonna see my entire process, and I did both colors so you can see the difference in opacity and in pigmentation and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna let you guys watch for a little bit, and I'll jump in here and there if there's anything that I feel like I need to tell you about. Although, you're pretty much seeing everything that I did. There's not a whole lot that I think I need to tell you at this point, but I will check back in a little bit. So just enjoy watching, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the piña colada, which is my favorite color ever. I don't know, I'm obsessed with this color. I should get a giant vat of it because I love it so much. This, I think I feel like it altered the color of the piña colada ever so slightly, and I don't even know if you guys will be able to tell at the end of the video when you see the final reveal photos, if you will, if you can see any difference whatsoever. But I felt like it did. It altered the color just a little bit. Only I, looking at it super close, would probably ever notice. But I think it did. It could just be me and my weird ass eyes. Who knows? But so anyway, into the pina colada. And I'm doing this exactly the same way as I did the blue. And you'll see it build layer by layer. The first coat doesn't get as much coverage as far as pigmentation goes when you're doing the gel base as opposed to doing the dip liquid base, the resin base. But I think one thing that I really appreciated about the gel base was you have time to work. So I think especially if you're doing some sort of nail art design, like if you're doing an ombre, I think the gel base would be amazing if you're just starting doing the ombre, because you have so much more time to, do your first color on one half of your nail and then your second color on your other half of your nail, or if you want to do three color, a tricolored ombre. I can't talk. I think this would be awesome for doing ombre nails, or even like a French, because you do have the time to work. It's not like it's going to dry on you like the resin base does. I mean, if you've seen the couple of videos I've done in the past with the ombre, I mean, it works really, really well with the dip liquid, the resin base, but sometimes that base dries before you have a chance to really get, especially your second color on there, without having to do a couple of layers of it. So this might be really, really good, and I may even experiment with this a little bit if I'm brave enough to try it again. The removal kind of traumatized me, honestly, but that's me, and I have no patience, none whatsoever. But I might try it. If I'm going to do another ombre vid, I'll try it with the gel and see if it comes out better, if it's easier or whatever to do it with the gel base rather than the dip powder base. But wanted to just sneak that in there real quick. I'm going to let you guys watch, and I'll be back again in a little bit. Okay, so I've gotten those two nails done, and I did go super slow just because I've never done this before and I was a little nervous. The last thing I want to do, especially when I have school and the kids and the husband and the cats and, life in general, the last thing I want to do is have to stop what I'm doing, take it all off, start over from scratch. I don't have that kind of time. So I was nervous, and I was going super slow with with the thumb and my index finger. And I tried something a little bit different on the last three. I would do the first layer on all three nails, and then I would cure them all together. And then I dust them all off at the same time, go back and do my second layer on all three nails, cure those three, dust them off, and so on and so on. And it did go a little bit quicker, maybe, than doing, one nail at a time. The whole process of doing the gel base on the one hand did take me a little bit longer than doing the dip liquid resin base on my other hand. And that might just be partially because I'm much more accustomed to using the dip base So I was, slower and more meticulous with the gel base, but also because you have to cure in between every layer and then dust off between every layer. So I don't know. But it did. It took me about, I'll estimate about 10 to 15 minutes longer to do the gel base dip application than it took me to do my normal dip liquid resin base application. So I'm going to let you guys watch me finish doing my other hand, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the filing routine that I did with the gel base for the dip powder. So I'll be right back. This was the point in time where I actually forgot. I forgot how many layers I did. I'm like, did I do 2? Did I do 3? I have no idea how many layers I just did. It was like one of those days. You ever have those days where you feel like you just don't even know if you're awake or not? It was one of those days. So I don't even know, honestly, how many layers I did at this point. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that this is my 3rd layer and I'm not completely ridiculous and I'm not getting that old, because that was absolutely a senior moment. I'm nowhere near senior status. I'm not. At least I don't feel like I am. Little personal information. I am 37. I am nowhere near old enough to be having these brain spasms as I am. Maybe it's just because I have so much stuff going on, and they always say pregnancy brain. Everyone gets pregnancy brain. And I don't think that ever goes away. I think with every child you have, you lose brain cells. And I am, 3 kids deep, and maybe I've just lost a ton of brain cells, and yeah, the babies ate my brain, as I like to say. So I forgot. I digress. We're going to keep going, and then we're going to get into the hand filing and some e-filing. I really wanted to keep this as normal for me as possible, just because for you guys, if you've been using dip liquids for a while and you want to make the switch over to a gel base, if you're like me, I'm a creature of habit, and I tend to screw things up if I wander off my normal path. So I wanted to, keep my normal hand filing, my normal e-filing, and it totally works, which I was super happy about. So we'll get into that here in a sec. All right, so I did the 3 coats of the color. At least I think it was 3 coats. And then I did my 4th coat in the clear. Did you guys hear my kitten jump into his beanbag? He loves that thing so much. So now I'm going to do the hand filing. And what I will tell you about the hand filing, I felt like this went a little bit faster for me than with the gel polish base foundation stuff than it usually does with my regular dip resin base. I know that gel is much softer than acrylic, and I'd imagine that it's probably softer than the base, the dip liquid base resin when it dries too. So I felt like this part was a little bit easier. I mean, it doesn't normally take me long to hand file. I just use the hand file for my shaping and cleaning up the sidewalls a little bit. so it doesn't normally take me long anyway, but I did feel that it went just a little bit faster than normal, which is kind of cool. And same thing with the efile. So I'm gonna let you watch me just quickly do my shape, and then we'll get into some e-filing. Hey, how quick was that? Hand filing was a cinch. Again, it doesn't take me super long to do normally, but I felt like that went super, super fast. So I use the same hand file as I normally do, my 100-100 Makartt hand file. And I'm also using the same e-file bit that I always use, my cylindrical diamond drill bit. I use this, you guys know, most of you guys know. If you're new here, you don't know, so I'm telling you, my cylindrical diamond drill bit came with my drill. And I'll leave all that info in the description box for you guys. But I did my normal e-filing routine, and I felt like it was much easier to e-file, smooth out the surface, and get around my cuticles. It was way easier, probably because the gel is much softer. I don't know if that would, I don't know, do something to the integrity of the acrylic powder. I don't know if that'll make it not as strong. I didn't feel like they were weak or flexible or anything. They seemed pretty hard, but it was softer, in my opinion, to e-file over the dip powder with the gel foundation as opposed to the dip base. Again, not something that takes me a whole lot of time, but if that's something that's super time consuming for you, this might also be a good alternative. As far as hand filing to do all your contouring and smoothing and stuff, I can't say for sure because I don't use my hand file for that. Definitely something that you can check out. If I had to speculate, I'd say you'd probably have an easier time using your hand file to do your contouring and smoothing if that's what you wanted to do. But the e-filing went, again, super quick. I did feel, and I don't know if you can see this on my thumb at all, if you saw it or noticed it, but I had like a little hump in the center of my thumb, and I don't know where that came from. I don't think I put the gel base on in a weird way. I feel like it settles nice, but for something, see, I don't know, it's got like a weird bump on it, and it was a pain to get down. I couldn't even get it down as much as I wanted to, so I just kind of dealt with it for the short time that I kept these on. But yeah, it wasn't that bad as far as the filing and e-filing. So now that that's done, and I think they look pretty darn good, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to do my right hand with my same colors, same everything. I'm just going to use my regular dip powder liquid base resin stuff. So I'll have one hand that I did, my left hand with the gel base. My right hand is going to be with the dip powder liquids. And again, don't mind I don't know why that stayed my nails so bad. I really never had that problem, but it did for some reason. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. So now magically all my nails are done. And again, left hand, on your left side, yeah, it's my left hand. That's with the gel base, and the right hand's with the dip powder base. So as you can see, the thickness really is about the same. They are still super hard. They don't bend or flex or anything. I didn't see a big difference with that at all. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna top coat. I'm gonna do a little bit of nail art on my blue because I can't have just a basic manicure. Y'all met me? I need art in my life. So I did some cute little clouds, and now I'm gonna top coat. Now, I did try to use, on my left hand, the Gelish Top It Off, which is not a no wipe. It's just a regular gel polish top coat that you have to clean with alcohol because there's that sticky inhibition layer. But I didn't even get that far because, and I've had these sitting here in my house for a good while now, and I haven't touched them because I've been afraid to use them. Again, creature of habit, I stick to what I know. So I don't know if I had a problem with the age of the Gelish top coat, but I put that on one nail and I had to immediately take it off and start over with everything because, not everything, just the top coat. It just ran everywhere. You know me, I don't buff the top of my nail because I always use gel top coat. And this gel top coat, it just slid everywhere into my cuticles, into my sidewalls. It was a mess. So I took it off and I stuck with my Aimeili no wipe gel polish top coat because it never fails me. I don't know why I had a problem with Gelish. It may not have anything to do with Gelish. It might be me not knowing what I'm doing. But I did stick with my Aimeili no wipe top coat. So I'm going to finish top coating my nails and I'm going to cure and I'll be back in just a sec. So this is the finished look. Let me talk about removal real quick. Now, normally when I do my removal, I use my acetone in a baggie over, like a Tupperware of hot rice. I have a video on that. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it. But that's my normal routine. I did the same thing with the gel hand. I did file a lot more to get down to one layer so I didn't have much to soak off. And it did take me about 22 minutes to soak off, where it would normally take me about 5 or 6. So it does take a little bit longer to remove and apply the gel when you're doing dip, but if you have allergies or sensitivity to the dip liquids, the gel base is a great alternative, especially if you're not a soak off, if you just want to do fills and stuff. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Please let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything in here I didn't cover. Other than that, I will see you all in the next vid. Love you, bye.